Welcome back to Spooky English, the podcast for learning English with strange and mysterious stories. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm Jake. It's great to be back with you all.
Last week, we talked about ghosts. This week, we're looking up at the sky. Our topic is one of the biggest questions of all. Are we alone?
That's right. Today's topic is aliens. This is a topic I've been fascinated with since I was a kid. The idea that we are not alone in the vast universe. It's just amazing to think about.
And for me, it's fascinating because it shows how much we still have to learn about our own world and how our minds can interpret strange events.
A very diplomatic way to say you're a skeptic.
I am a skeptic, yes. I believe there might be life on other planets, but I am not convinced they have visited Earth. So Jake, as the believer, where do we start?
Let's start with how many people agree with me. Did you know that in many countries, polls show that more than half of the adult population believes that aliens exist?
More than half? I'm surprised it's that high. That's a lot of people.
It is. People have seen strange things in the sky for centuries. We used to call them UFOs.
UFO. That stands for Unidentified Flying Object, an object in the sky that we cannot explain.
Exactly. But recently, the government has started using a new name, UAP.
UAP? What does that stand for?
It means Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. It's a wider or broader term. It includes things seen in the sky, in the water, or even in space.
Okay, so UAP is the new official term. It feels more serious than UFO. But still, seeing something you can't identify is different from knowing it's an alien spaceship.
I agree, but there are some very famous cases that are hard to explain away. Cases that make you think seriously about the possibility.
All right, I'm ready to listen with an open mind. Let's hear about a famous case.
Then let's talk about the most famous one of all, Roswell.
Of course. Roswell, New Mexico, the story that started it all, back in 1947.
That's the one. In July 1947, something crashed on a farm. The Army came to clean up the wreckage. At first, the local newspaper reported that the Army found a flying saucer.
I can't imagine reading that headline in the morning paper. A flying saucer.
Exactly. But then just one day later, the Army completely changed the story. They said it was not a flying saucer. They said it was just a normal weather balloon.
From an alien spaceship to a weather balloon, that is a very big change in the story. It does sound suspicious.
It is, and many people did not believe the news story. Years later, witnesses said the material from the crash was not normal. It was a strange metal that you could bend and crush, but it would always return to its original shape.
So, like a shape memory material.
Precisely. Witnesses also described finding small metal beams, like I-beams, with strange pink or purple symbols on them. It wasn't any language they recognized.
That detail is interesting. However, I have read that critics suggest this part of the story was added much later. In the first accounts from the 1940s and 50s, nobody mentioned strange symbols.
That may be, but the most famous part of the story is that some people claim the Army found not just a ship, but its pilots. They claimed alien bodies were recovered from the crash site.
Right, the story of the alien bodies is what made Roswell so legendary. But the official explanation from the U.S. Air Force in the 1990s tried to explain all of this.
It did. And what was their explanation?
They said the crashed object was from a top-secret program called Project Mogul. It used high-altitude balloons to listen for Soviet nuclear bomb tests. The balloons had strange equipment that would look alien to a farmer.
So, a spy balloon, not a weather balloon. That means they didn't tell the truth in the beginning. What about the alien bodies?
The Air Force said those stories came from confused memories. They suggested people were mixing up the 1947 crash with later experiments where they dropped human-shaped test dummies from high balloons to test parachutes.
I see. So it's a classic case, a possible government cover-up of an alien crash versus a secret military project that was misunderstood.
Exactly. The story is amazing, but there is no hard physical evidence of anything alien.
Okay, I understand the skepticism for Roswell, but what about cases with many military witnesses, people who are trained to observe things carefully?
That does make a story more credible. Which case are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of the Rendlesham Forest incident in the United Kingdom. It's sometimes called Britain's Roswell.
Right. This happened in December of 1980, near two American Air Force bases in England.
Yes, over several nights, military guards saw strange, colorful lights in the forest. They went to investigate. One man, Sergeant Jim Peniston, got very close to a small triangular craft that had landed.
Landed? So it was on the ground?
Yes, he said it was metallic with strange symbols on its side. He even touched it. He said it felt warm and smooth. The next day, they found 3 indentations or marks on the ground where the craft had stood.
And these were trained military observers, not just random people.
Exactly. And the deputy base commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, even recorded an audio tape as he and his team saw the lights. He also reported seeing beams of light from the object shining down onto the military base right near the weapons storage area.
A beam of light near a weapons area sounds very alarming. This case is definitely one of the most compelling, but as always, there are skeptical explanations.
I'm sure there are. Let's hear them.
The most popular explanation for the strange lights is a nearby lighthouse. The Orford Ness Lighthouse was visible from the forest, and its powerful, sweeping light could have been distorted by the trees, creating a very strange effect.
A lighthouse? But these men were trained Air Force personnel. Surely they would not mistake a lighthouse for an alien craft.
You would think so, but at night in a dark forest, your senses can be tricked. The mind creates patterns. Also, the marks on the ground? Some say they could have been made by animals digging in the dirt.
And the craft that Sergeant Peniston touched? What about Colonel Halt's report of beams of light near the weapons storage?
The personal testimony is the hardest part to explain, but memory is complex, and Colonel Halt's report could also be the lighthouse beam appearing to move as he moved through the forest. It's an amazing story, but it's not definitive proof.
I suppose that's the theme. It's always a story of strange events, with one explanation being aliens and another being something normal that is misunderstood.
That's usually how it goes. For every story of a UFO, there is often a possible earthly explanation. It might be a weather balloon, a lighthouse, or even a bright planet like Venus.
True, but for me, the huge number of stories from credible people all over the world makes me believe that something strange is happening. Not every case can be a weather balloon.
And for me, until there is a piece of a spaceship that scientists can study or an alien we can actually meet, I will remain a skeptic. A curious skeptic, but still a skeptic.
A fair position to hold. Well, we've looked at 2 of the biggest alien cases in history today. I hope our listeners found it interesting and maybe learned some new vocabulary like wreckage, skeptic, and witness.
It is a fascinating topic, no matter what you believe. So, to our listeners, what do you think? Are aliens visiting us, or is there always a simple explanation?
That's all the time we have for today's episode of Spooky English.
We hope you enjoyed it and that it helped with your English learning. If you liked the show, please consider leaving a review.
And be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss our future episodes.
It helps our podcast grow. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye for now.